Wow, good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tolulope Oke, and I'm going to be your host this wonderful afternoon. So thank you all for coming, for actually taking the time on a Friday afternoon to join us to have this discuss. We are so grateful to have you guys here. So thank you all for coming. I can see we have quite a number of people here already, and we're just going to start. Thank you for responding to this call. So I'm just going to give you a brief background about myself. So like I said, my name is Tolulope Oke, from Nigeria, Ikiti State, Nigeria. And I am the convener of EEIA, which is Engineering Empowerment Initiative for Africa. And what we do, we're going to be talking more about what we do later on, but we are an NGO advancing engineering in Nigeria, just advancing. When you think about engineering education, engineering employment, innovation, invention, education supports for science and education in schools and everything. So there's so many things that we do. We have our core pillars, which I'm going to share with you in a moment. But at the first instance, I just want to say thank you for coming. The focus today is not on us as EIA, that's Engineering Empowerment Initiative for Africa. However, the focus for today is discussing about engineering in Nigeria. And I think this is very interesting because I want to believe that almost everyone here is an engineer, and I believe that it is that passion to see engineering work. That's the reason why we are here today, actually. And like what was said in the flyer that went out is engineering in Nigeria, what can we do better? And I think all of us probably has one experience or the other, or one contribution or the other to make to that topic today. So it would be very great to be able to hear from us at different points in time during the program. We're going to want to hear your ideas. And why are we doing this? I feel like if you want to solve a problem, you need to talk about it. So you can't just sweep it under the carpet and, just wish that this problem goes away. However, if you want to solve the problem, you need to be able to talk about it. And I feel like for so long, we've been very silent about the impact of engineering and the non-impact of engineering, if you get me. So engineering, as I know, myself being a materials engineer, is very impactful. It's a very noble career. It's very impactful. There's a lot of, design thinking. There's a lot of brilliance that goes into engineering. And I just feel like, we have so many of this. I did my research and I found out that, in Nigeria, we are actually, apart from master strike years, we're actually graduating about 4,000 engineering students per year. And that's actually, that's not small at all. That's not a small number. It's huge. And when you think about it like that, you begin to think, okay, why have we not moved forward as a country? Why are we not patenting stuff? Why are there not innovation left, right, and center? What's really going on? And I know there is a part of this, or that's probably responsibility of the government and all of that. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But it's just really, have we just been very quiet about what the problem is? And if we're very quiet about the problem, then maybe that's why we've not had a solution. So what we're trying to do today is to hear from you professionals about what you think the problems are and how we can solve it, because it's not enough to think about what the problem is. And thankfully, engineers are very good problem solvers. So we want to today hear from you what you think the problem is and how we can solve it. And what are we going to do with this information? First of all, I want to believe that the people, the attendees here, can go away with that information first and foremost and use that in their own daily lives, whether they are managers, leaders, or lecturers. They can use that first of all. Second is, as an NGO, one of the things we want to also do is to start engaging the stakeholders. So we want to start engaging the stakeholders such as the government, the universities, who are the people that can help us? And this is about one of the things. So if we identify the problems and we identify workable solutions that we can actually have, for those problems, then we need to be able to reach out. So we want to take that forward as an NGO, as one of our goals for next year, to take these problems and the solutions that we feel like are the right solutions to this problem. We want to take it to these other people, this government, these stakeholders. And as we take it to them, we want to expect that there will be solutions. And also as an NGO ourselves, we'll be driving some of this. So we're not just going to leave it to, somebody that's not going to turn the page on it in another 12 months. We're going to be driving the goals on it. Also, we're going to be working on some of them ourselves. And you're going to hear more about that later on. So once again, you're very much welcome. I can see we have a lot of people that have joined us from Lagos. If you're just joining us, please let me know where you're joining us from. At the moment, let me know where you're joining us from. Lagos, Kaduna. Where are you joining us from? Okay. I'm going to mute everyone. Okay, so I can still see Lagos. I can still see Lagos. All right. Okay, brilliant. So yes, thank you so much. I'm hoping that more people will be joining us. I'm looking for people from the southeast of Nigeria. I've not really seen them here because it takes all of us. Sometimes our experience may also be different across region. Oh, I can see somebody from Abuja. So we want to hear from everyone. We want to hear what you think the solutions are. And, it is our hope that with this little that all of us are trying to do, we'll be able to get this profession, this very noble profession, into a better place. And also for the young ones that are coming, believe you me, I've engaged with a lot of young engineers this year on our mentorship program. And some of them have fears because they can't see their career as really going anywhere. They're engineers, they're brilliant, they have ideas, but they're just like, I don't really know. I don't really know if I'm going to be able to make it with this career. So, and those are some of the things that really breaks my heart as a person, because if you go to, actually for brilliant people, you go to school with all of those brilliance and you're not sure what's going to happen. So, that's all of the things we're going to be discussing today. So please, when it is time for us to discuss, please don't hold back. We will ask you to, type in your answers, and then we start calling people to actually discuss and shed more light on their ideas. So please, thank you very much. You can still reach out to your friends if they're supposed to be here and they're not yet here. Please reach out to them to come and hear us and hear solutions to some of the things we're going to be speaking about. So yes, in a moment, I'm not going to be alone today. I have my team members in the background, as well as we have a keynote speaker who has worked across different FMCG businesses in Nigeria as an engineer himself. And also, working with people, mentoring engineers, working across leadership scope and different things. And he's seen, I don't want to say he's seen it all, but, he's been the underdog, and then he's also rising to the managerial level. And also he's been within technical manufacturing. We have very few manufacturing places in Nigeria. So, but at least he's been within those systems. He's seeing what works, what doesn't work. And so he's one of the first people that is going to just be speaking to us and sharing his idea with us today. And I'm going to bring him up in a moment. He's just going to be speaking to us from his own experience and giving us just what he really thinks that we can do, and also sharing his own professional experience with us at the same time. So you will join me to please give a warm welcome to Mr. Titus Yakubu. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Titus Yakubu. He's going to be coming on very shortly. And believe you me, I've listened to some of his stuff, and I think, you should listen actually to what he's saying. You should listen to him. And also, I believe that it can begin to set the notes for the conversation as we begin to proceed. So Mr. Yakubu, you're welcome. I'm just going to look for him on the chat and unmute him. Yes, please. Okay, Mr. Yakubu is here. So, Mr. Yakubu, are you ready? Just give me one moment.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Are you ready, Yakubu? All right. I think I'm struggling.
Okay.
If you raise your hand. Yes, we can hear you. Can you raise your hand? Because I'm struggling to. Okay, I can find you now. Brilliant. Add pin. Good. Thank you so much. Yeah, we can see you now. So thank you so much, Mr. Yakubu, for honoring our invitation. You're very, very much welcome. I'll be talking more about what you do, at the end of the program, some of the mentorship stuff that you offer on your LinkedIn platform, also on your YouTube platform. So please, the floor is yours. I'll just step away and listen to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Tolu.
Yes.
I'm just trying to switch from my mobile device to my computer.
All right, no problem at all. That's fine.
All right, so I think this is better. This should be better now. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. I wasn't hearing her. Okay, so thank you so much, Tolu, for the opportunity to be here, or the privilege. My name is Gado once again. I won't be taking so much of your time. I will try to be as brief as possible. And I thank you for what you do. This is an exciting opportunity to speak to young professionals like myself. Okay, so let me just go quick early into some keynotes, because it's going to be a discussion, a roundtable discussion, and also, I don't know if you can still hear me, Tolu.
Yes, you're.
We can hear you, but we can't see you. Is that okay?
Oh, no, I'm coming. I think something is wrong. Let me check my.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem we need to solve in Nigeria. So I think, yeah, we can see you. Yes.
Okay. I'm actually joining from the office. So,
Okay.
yeah, so again, let me just start once again. My name is Gadu Titus. I'm a certified maintenance and reliability professional. My background is electrical engineering. And I'm a certified management consultant, a fellow of the Institute of Management Consulting, a certified reliability engineer, blah, 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 blah. So those, I don't think all those certifications really matter, but just a brief history about myself. I'm a very young professional, like everyone on this call. I began my career like 12 years ago or so. And I've moved, I've been in the manufacturing industry. I began with telecoms. I worked with the telecommunication industry for a while, 3 years. And then I moved to manufacturing. And I've been in manufacturing for the past 10 years. So I've worked with Coca-Cola, I've worked with PZ Cousins, I've worked with AB InBev, I've worked with Chi Limited, and now with 7-Up Bottling Company as a manufacturing transformation manager. I'm responsible for people and manufacturing transformation for 7-Up Bottling Company, Pan Nigeria. So let's go straight into the discussion without saying so much ado. So the first thing I'd like to say is that normally when you start talking about how to improve engineering in Nigeria or in Africa as a whole, the first or where everybody's mind goes to is the government or the people in power and leadership. But I want to be a bit different today. I want to flip the discussion to us, because the truth is change will always begin somewhere, and it is not a must that change must begin from the top. Change can begin from us. And that is what I want to drive at today, because again, it's easy to point fingers at the government or at the people in leadership, or point fingers at the constraints we have and all that. But the question is, what are we doing as individuals to ensure that these challenges or these constraints don't limit us as individuals? Because again, we can say we're in Nigeria, we can say we're in Africa, and these have these challenges, but the truth is, even those outside Nigeria have specific challenges peculiar to them, and also have the potential of limiting their performance as individuals or as engineers. And again, one of the first things that comes to mind as a big challenge affecting engineering in a country like Nigeria, for me, is corruption, right? And I will link it, I want to put it this way, that no country started off corrupt. No company started off corrupt. It is the people in that company or that country that made it corrupt, right? And it's the same people in that country or company or wherever that can change the situation and make things right. And I believe the people we have in this call are those people that can change whatever challenge we have, whatever issue of corruption we have from their very small areas of practice. For example, I'm a civil engineer. I'm supposed to do things right, but I don't do things right. I cut corners, and my cutting corners is already making buildings collapse, and it's making people die, for example. So it's still part of the issues we are having, because you see, like in Lagos, for example, a couple of months back, we had issues of a very big building collapsing, about 32-story and all that. And what we discovered is that the major challenge was that there was an issue around corruption, because the approval that was given for 20-story building, but they decided to add additional 10 building collapse, for example. So this is an example of corruption. And this is not a systemic corruption, this is an individual corruption. So beyond just going into systemic corruption, I'm trying to address individual corruption. So one thing that we as individuals, as engineers, practicing engineers, will also need to focus on and ensure is that we do the right thing at the right time. We have what we call the tenets of engineering, the code of ethics. We need to be able to work with the code of ethics and ensure that we are doing the right thing at the right time. Then the next thing I also want to talk about is for us as engineers to go beyond just the theories we learn from school, because again, there's a big disconnect between the theories we learn from school and actual practice, right? So to succeed as an engineer, or to begin to make engineering something interesting and exciting for those that are coming after us, also ensure that we go beyond the theories. Because let me give an example of myself. My background is electrical engineering, but when I came into the industry as a graduate some years back, I discovered that yes, what I was taught in school was actually theory, and not just theory, but old school theory, because the world of technology has advanced beyond what I was taught in the four walls of the university. Talking about electric motors, we have different types of electric motors now. We have servo motors, we have stepper motors, as the case may be, but what I was taught in the school was just the basic synchronous motors and asynchronous motors and all that. You understand? So a lot has changed. So I'm trying to say we should begin to focus as individuals, as engineers, on not just the theories we get from school, but trying to test those theories with practical applications and so on. Then I also want to talk about leveraging on mentorship. And this is very important, and this cannot be overemphasized, because again, there are people who have gone before us, both locally and internationally. So we need to be able to, as young engineers, leverage on mentorship, both local mentorship and international mentorship. That is one of my secrets as an individual. I've able to enjoy speedy growth in my career, extremely speedy growth. People who began with me at the same time, I would say, by the grace of God, I've been able to go faster. And I've been able to achieve this because I've been able to leverage on mentorship. Local mentorship, and I have mentors both in Nigeria and mentors outside Nigeria, mentors who have been exposed to so many things that I've not been exposed to as an individual, mentors who have been there, who have gone ahead of me, who have done things that I've not been able to do, but things I am aspiring to do and all that. So as young professionals, we need to be able to leverage on mentorship. This is very key. It's something we cannot overemphasize. Now, the next thing we should also look at is being able to learn, because again, using myself as an example, I began as a graduate trainee. You know, normally when you get employed as a graduate trainee, you're supposed to be a manager, but you're going to be going through a lot of training, series of training. You're going to be going through rotation, classroom training, on the job training, and all that. It is also very difficult to be able to humble yourself, because you're going to be engaging with people who, by hierarchy or by cadre, are lower than you. You're going to be engaging with technicians. You're going to be engaging with craftsmen and all that. The temptation to want to feel like a boss is always there. So it takes a lot of humility to be able to bring yourself low, listen to them, learn from them and all that. So as an advice, I will also say we need to be able to also stay humble while we learn. Then you also need to collaborate and network, because that's one area I see engineers lacking: collaboration. Yes, you have gone to school, you have learned, but beyond just the four walls of school, in fact, let me just say this here, your first degree, your BSc, is just the beginning. As an engineer, having a BSc is just the beginning. That is just a stepping stone, because that is what you will need to step on to be able to do so many other things. So see yourself as an engineer, that certificate, having that certificate as just at the first step all right? So you need to be able to leverage on network. You need to be able to collaborate with other young engineers like yourself. You need to be able to collaborate with older engineers that have gone ahead of you. And then you need to be able to network. This is very critical. So we need to be able to focus on networking and also collaboration. Then I have these three principles I work with. It's called the ABC principle. Assume. A is for assume nothing. B is for believe no one. C is for challenge everything. As an engineer, you must be very inquisitive. You must ask questions. You must learn to ask questions because, again, out there in the industry, if you don't ask questions, you'll be limited. You'll be very limited because you must learn to ask questions. You must learn to be very inquisitive. You must learn to challenge everything, right? Just because somebody says 1 + 1 is 2 does not necessarily mean 1 + 1 is 2, right? It is in your ability to challenge 1 + 1 being 2 that you discover that there are situations whereby 1 + 1 may not necessarily be 2, for example, right? And inventions begin with challenging because you can only begin to invent or innovate when you're able to challenge the status quo, right? So as a matter of principle for me, I assume nothing. I ensure that I believe no one, and then I try to challenge everything. So I'm going to drop here and then hand over to Lou to continue. As we engage, we'll have so much discussions and you are able to ask questions and then we proceed. Thank you so much, Tolu.
That was great so far, at least so far. So far, it was great already, because I feel like I said, one thing I love as a person is not just propose what the problem is, but what the solution has been, what the solution can be. And I like the fact that you've already taken us through your career, even in that short instance, and we would be able to see how you've already been able to sum out some of the challenges. And I think that's great. And I think that's a very good place for me to land on and for me to actually continue on. So thank you so much, Mr. Yagoda. I think I'll just reiterate what he said. He talked about corruption. I know this is something that we always talk about in Nigeria. And I think it's good that we talk about it. But I think sometimes even the corrupt people are talking about corruption. And that's the challenge, right? Because, everybody's saying corruption is like this big invisible thing that we don't see. But then at the same time, nobody's really bringing it down. But I like the way you drilled it down to say, you know what about the ethics and the ethics of engineering within what we do ourselves? All right. So we need to really look into that. You talked about the disconnects, right? About between theoretical and what you learned in school and what is available right now, and how you need to grow and develop yourself. And that's really, in fact, that's one area I'm very passionate about, because I feel like there are a lot of updated, like I said, engineering principles don't change, but application and, ideas get updated. And I feel like without that, we can't really move forward. So you talked about leveraging of mentorship. Oh, tell me about it. I myself am being a benefit and a beneficiary of good mentorship. And I think you cannot take that away from any engineer, because you need that mentorship. And that's one of the reasons why we established a mentorship program this year. And at that mentorship program, all right, I'm just going to try and use that. Brilliant. I think it should be better now. So somebody has even summarized it for us in the chat. So, I think mentorship is really great. And, that also got proven to me this year, during the ASU strike, we had a mentorship program at EIA. And oh my goodness, it was brilliant, both for the mentors and for the mentees. It was really, really brilliant. You're going to hear me say more about it later on, but it was really brilliant. So I think he has really touched on the points there. I know he talked about collaboration. That is great, because I feel like that is also one of the things we're doing here today, because I don't feel like one person can solve the problems. And that's why we are doing a sort of collaboration here with you today, so that we can really hear, what you have to say, what you've seen as your experience, because sometimes I may perceive that something is a problem and you're telling me, oh, somebody told me recently that, sometimes it is about graduates knowing how to write CV, or engineers knowing how to even apply. Somebody, different ideas that people have given me over the years, and I found them to be very useful, things I've not talked about. So I think it's really great that we have all of you here today, and we are going to be going into the sessions where we'll start discussing just now. So I'm preparing my screen now to sort of take you through some of the questions we have on ground and how we sort of want to run this. So how many of us have heard of a platform called Slido before? So what's going to happen with Slido is you're going to go, if you've heard about Slido, please just let me know. Have you heard of Slido before? Anyone heard of Slido before? Slido. Anyone heard of Slido before? Oh, okay. Yes, no, yes, no. Okay, that's fine. So Slido is great. So Slido helps us to, it allows all of us to contribute. We could use this, we could use the chat. However, I just think Slido is a tool whereby it allows you to take polls in meetings and all of that to know what people are thinking. So that's what we're going to use today. So I am going to put the link to our Slido. We'll set some questions. It's not an exam. It's just to allow us to be a bit organized. So we just want to hear from you, from all of you that are here. So I'm going to do the first one. So if I send the link to you in the chat, please click on that link and it will take you. So there is a question there. Once you see the question, can you let me know? If you click on it and you see the question, let me know. Let me know. I just want to be sure that it's working. So this is like a test question. Oh, okay. Results are coming in. All right. So let me share my screen. So I can see you guys are seeing the question because the results is coming in. Great. Okay. That's great. That's great. That's great. It's coming in. All right. Oh, that was brilliant. So that's just showing me we're good to go. All right, good. So the question was, are you a student or a professional? And we just wanted to know how many, what the demographic was here today. And okay, more people are feeling it, more people. So we have more professionals here than students. That's great. Okay, so we have 75% professionals and 25% of us are students. So that's really, really very great. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So the way we're going to run this today is we're going to ask you what the problems are. And once you give us what the problems are, so if you go back to that screen now, you'll be able to see, for people that have not, you'll be able to see, we want to know what are the problems of engineering in Nigeria? What is the problem of engineering in Nigeria? Somebody's raising their hand. Is the link working for everyone? Let me post it again. So if you click that link, you should see a new question there, and I'll share my screen to see what we're looking at. Right. Okay, people are typing. Let's keep it just short and crunchy. If you think it is education, lack of, 3 words, 2 words, lack of practical. Can you see the screen? Good, that's come true. Wow. Okay, I can see quite a number of people typing. That's good. Government policies, lack of practical application, innovation. Right, that's great. Lack of practical, okay. Wow. So more people, gap between classroom and field, knowledge, government policy, practical application, industrial exposure. Wow, wow. Love this. Government policies, not enough funding, innovation, practical, government policies, gap between classroom and field. So we have government policies, ability to monetize skill. I like that. Wow. Zero mentorship program, industrial exposure. non-practical exposure. Okay, good. Okay, right, knowledge gap. All right, we give another like 1 minute. Okay, ability to monetize skill. Not a lot of funding, knowledge gap between classroom and field, knowledge gap, beyond school learning. All right. So I think we're having some key ones there. Not being exposed to practical. So we have, I think number 1 is practical. All right. Okay, we give the 3 people still typing. Practical. Gender bias. Ah, that one is, in fact, I could spend a whole day on that, but let's just focus. Government policies, lack of training, mentorship, okay. Practical mentorship, lack of open opportunities. All right, brilliant. Okay, thank you so much. I will still keep that open, but I'll stop sharing my screen in a moment. I will come back to it. So I think that's really good because we've seen, I think the very first thing is lack of practical. So if you want to talk about lack of practical and you just want to share your thoughts about it, we're going to give people the opportunity to share their thoughts. Please note you have 1 minute each so that we allow so many people to talk. All right. Okay. So if you want to talk about lack of practical, please can you raise your hands? Okay. All right. We'll talk about lack of practicals. All right. Okay. So Ayodele Ayobami, I'll ask you to unmute. You can unmute. Yeah. Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, brilliant. Please, let's hear from you, sir.
Abachari. Hello?
Hello, we can hear you, sir.
Yes, I'm Abachari, Executive Director of Kumbal Supportive Initiative.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hello?
Hello, we can hear you. Yeah, I said, do you want to talk more? Do you want to expatiate more about lack of practical? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's go to Oluwatosin Ishola about lack of practical.
Okay.
Hello, Tolu. How are you?
Hi, Tosin. Good afternoon.
Yeah. When you call yourself a young engineer, I just laugh. I'm not. Okay. So, for context, myself and Tolu went to the same school, different departments, but same school, same year of graduation. And the issue of lack of practical was something that we all struggled with in engineering. But over my career, I have realized that you are not going to get practical engineering education in school, simply because there isn't enough time. Even if you went to a school with the best labs, the best facilities, and the best people in school, because you are a student, you will not get the required practical exposure in school. The best way to get the practical exposure is by actually practicing engineering. So it's a chicken and egg question here. Nobody expects you fresh out of school to have any practical experience whatsoever. So for the practical experience issue, you will not get it in school. If you went to school and studied up to PhD level, you will still not have practical experience. The only way to get, even Polytechnic, even in the Polytechnics, you will not get the practical experience you will get in the real life. And that is why it's called the practice of engineering. And that's why you don't become an engineer until you have practiced for X amount of years. I think it's 5 years. That's when you get your current status. And there's a reason why. At early education, you should consider yourself an apprentice. So when you are going to start your first job or your second job, or the first few years out of school, you are going as an apprentice to learn from people who do things. You will learn more in your first few years than you learned in university, even if you went to the best universities in the world. So the thing about practical experience is you will not solve that. The only way you will solve practical experience is by practicing engineering. And how do we practice engineering? The next question would be how to practice engineering.
Okay.
So engineering is a subservient profession. Sorry to say, it's a noble profession, it's a good profession, but it remains a profession subject to the demands of society. You cannot practice engineering until you have a customer, and you have to service the needs of your said society. We don't have an automotive sector in this country, so you are not going to get automotive design experience in Nigeria. But we have a telecom sector, so you will probably have that. You are not going to, and engineers will not develop those sectors. Those sectors will be developed by businessmen and managers and all. So what I would advise young engineers is, look, the society has needs. The society has things it wants. You would do well, or you would do better to solve those needs than wanting to forge, I won't say forge your own path, because that's not the right thing, but you would do than trying to service a need that doesn't exist.
Okay.
So two things: you will not get practical experience in school. If you are going to school for practical experience, you are wrong. And then secondly, you will get that experience by actually practicing the engineering, which will be tailored to solving a problem or solving the needs that society has, one, and also can pay for.
All right. Okay. So I'm gonna have to stop you there, but thank you so much. I think we've already gotten that point now. Thank you so much, and we're going to focus more on it. But yeah, any other person wants to talk about lack of practical experience? We're going to talk about it. Just talk about it. Don't respond to Tracy or something. We're going to, cap it up later on. But if you want to talk about practical experience, just let me know. I'm just wondering, Ayodele, Ayomide, you're still raising your hand, sir. Do you want to speak? Do you want to speak? All right, I'm not sure if he wants to speak. Okay. I can see, okay. I can see there's been some conversation on the chats. Engineering students are facing a lot of difficulties in these aspects. That's in part of life of practical. Okay. I can see Joy here. Joy Uno. I can see your full surname. So I'll just say Joy. Yeah, you wanted to speak, please.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Afternoon to all engineers in the building and our leaders here. To me, though I'm a young engineer still studying in the Polytechnic, hoping to cross with the university soon. So I was thinking most of the problems we are facing is that we are not capable and able to learn new things. Because most young engineers, because being a graduate, they have earned their BLC. They think after the BLC, the only thing remaining is to earn money so as to sufficient all the money they have spent in the school already. So being an engineer, we should be able to expose ourselves to industry. Like I am now, though I'm still an 200 level. So though my dad itself is in maintenance engineering, he goes to one water. So during my early days, I used to take my time to go to the company and learn so many new things. So I always think of all these things. What about others that doesn't have the opportunities to expose to all those things? So this practical aspect has been a such problem to all engineers because in the school, they only taught us 20% of practical aspect, and those practical aspects are not genuine to be able to expose us to industry. Is moreover, when engineers when they are able to practice things together themselves, they will be able and capable. Even nowadays, industry are not offering most of graduates job opportunity due to lack of practical experience. And I think the only solution to this is engineers themselves to be able to learn and expose themselves out. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. All right. Okay. So I can see, I think that's whole. I think that's everyone that has raised their hand about lack of practical experience. And I just want to speak about that. And, thank you for all sharing your thoughts. I think the first speaker, Tosa, really shared from a very interesting perspective. And I think that would then make me to say, I think maybe there is a differentiation that is necessary here for us to make. Maybe when we talk about practical experience and the lack of, are we talking about lack of experimental procedural training? Are we talking about lack of experimental training in universities or lack of actual work practical experience? And I think that's a definition that we need to make. That's a differentiating factor that we need to make. So I feel like on one hand, there are so many things that you would not totally know. You would never really know until, you graduate and you're actually doing the job and you're doing those kind of work. However, is there also a point to the fact that the syllabus being covered, and I think somebody mentioned that the syllabus being covered does not even cover the experimental procedure that sort of puts in, and also all of us, the people that are already graduates, we did the year 4 or year 5 projects. Is it that, and that's supposed to be our first at least step into some practical experience and working autonomous, working, on your own and being able to work. So I think maybe we need to make a differentiating factor. It is the educational components of engineering education in Nigeria. Does it work at the moment, and why is that so? All right, so I'll just take one last person before, Oluwafunmilola, please. You can unmute.
Yeah, good afternoon. Oh, sorry, good day. I don't know how long I've been in time.
Either one.
Yes, in my opinion, I've listened to a lot of things, and I think what we are doing right now is more of a tertiary solution, like more of a secondary solution. The primary solution still remain working with the educational system to get things done. As regards our syllabus, I'm in the design field, and I must tell you specifically that our syllabus are not really outdated. It's just the problem is the lecturers. I'll be sincere with you, the lecturers. These lecturers do not know how to synchronize or to synergize what they are teaching in the classroom with what is expected of engineers on the field. I've had, in fact, over the last couple of months, we've had reason to interview a lot of engineers, and my boss keeps telling me, what is happening? Why are we not getting there? It's not really like these guys, but they know these things. By the time we have to push to them, okay, do it this way, do it this way, do it this way, they'll be able to come up, oh, this is, but they really don't know that they've learned stuff in school. They only know it's the divide the x, you calculate this, but okay, come around. This is what it's used for. Especially for those who use CAD system, most of them don't know that all those divide the x, integration, discretization, and whatsoever is what is used in the CAD software they are using to run simulations. All they just think that, oh, they bombard ahead with Julia story, with all those stuff. And the lecturers too, because when I've interacted with some of them, they have the same problem too. If you meet them and say, this thing, where is it applied? Just tell you, just learn it. But these things are really, really what we are using on the field. Those knowledge, those theories, those things are really applicable. It's just that those lecturers don't know that they apply where they applied. Yeah. And it's when we now get the graduates coming in and then we begin to question them now, tell them to do so, it begins to look like rocket science to them. I was looking for the design aspect actually. Then for the practical aspect, yes, I understand a lot of, in fact, sometimes even some of the workshop technicians, because I've worked in a place where we've had professor come around and then, in fact, it was a disaster. So it's with machines and all the likes, even some of the technicians say, what I just feel is, if there's a way we can influence the academia, such that if it's maybe become a club with students or the likes, like let's start from there, forming a club with students. Like I remember secondary school, we had this jet club stuff. So if we can have such in the university where we have clubs, we can go on excursion like the Rotary Club that go excursion. Then from the school, we take them out, we tell them this thing you're learning, this is so that from the beginning, they'll begin to understand what they need to do. And then from their final year projects, they'll be able to apply those things and see them come out real, So that by the time they are leaving the school and going into the field, of course, they will have known why they need to know the Bernoulli's theory. They need to understand why fluid flow needs to go this way, and they'll be able to size for pumps, they'll be able to do some of these things without even getting into the field. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was great. I can see so much. You can see the passion. The passion was brewing and brewing. That you can see it when he was talking. And thank you so much. And I think that's another thing. So first of all, I think he talked about, what he thinks the solution is synchronization, about the lack of synchronization. We synchronize what is being taught to what is being taught to what is obtainable in the industry. Also, he made some suggestions, good suggestions about field trips, forming society, and I can hear somebody say there are actually societies for engineers and all of those things. So I think that's another. So we have, we're taking down all of those points and all of that. So also that the lack of practical is, if the lecturer doesn't know it, then there's no way they are going to be able to. The lack of experimental procedures is practical experimental procedures. If they don't know it, they can't teach the students how to do that. Okay, so I think that's another point. All right, Adamu, you'll be the last person, and then we move on to another key point on the list. So Adamu, you can unmute. Okay, can you hear us, Adamu? I'm not sure what is happening with Adamu's volume, but once you can hear us, you can let me know, and I will let you know. Okay, we can hear you now. You want to speak?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, and thanks for organizing this great what's it called? Is it team
It's
Zoom?
Roundtable is all of us. We're learning from everyone.
All right, thank you very much. I think to me, from what I've actually learned so far, I think the major problem of we engineers in Nigeria is our government. Because it happens
just hold it 1 minute there, because we're going to come back to government policies. So let's just close on the lack of practicals, all right, so that we can take you one by one. Okay, so let's stay on the
the lack of practicals in school. I think we still have some lecturers that are actually doing good, that they can actually practice engineering practically, like perfectly. But the major problem is it all goes down to the government. But when we come to that side, I think I'll be able to speak better then.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Thank you so much for your contribution. So yeah, that's great. I think what we've been able to establish is that there are still some things that you need to learn on the job. However, there are also some things that you need to learn within your university system. So it's how, if you don't fulfill all your learning criteria in the university system, then when it comes to learning things outside of the university system, you will not be able to learn it absolutely. So I can see quite a lot of people have put in the chat, they're talking about lecturers not ready to work. I'm reading your comments. I can say that there's a good opinion. So most lecturers are not ready to work during the last couple of semesters. One of them asked my class to report 7 practical without putting us through the main practical. We have been facing most of these challenges, but there are no solutions provided by the school. So I think that we've made a fair point. I think what we are saying, and what's some of the HR recruiters and employers are telling me that I've engaged with, is the quality of people that they are getting is not what they expect to get from the university system. And obviously that means that there is something wrong in that part. And I think, the word synchronization, I didn't think about it before, but I think that was a great word that Oluwafunlola gave us, that within the university system, first of all, as an engineer, you will never learn everything you need to learn yourself within the university system, all right? So there's a level of extra effort you need to put in. Now, somebody might say, oh, why do I have to? They should teach me everything in the university. But let me tell you, I actually live and work in the United Kingdom. And, when I say this, it surprises people. And it's not all seamless here also. Things are working, but it doesn't mean that as an engineer, you have to apply yourself. But the good thing is, internet, there is light, there are labs, but engineering students are able to go beyond the classroom to do other things. In fact, I don't know if you guys have heard about OpenCourseware, which is MIT, whereby you can learn things. You can as a mechanical engineer, you can learn about electrical engineering and expand your knowledge about how that combines and all of those kind of things. You can learn about artificial intelligence, how that applies to your course and all of that. So there's a whole lot of responsibility on the engineer, which is also what Engineer Gado was telling us the other time. You need to be ready to learn. So I think that's one aspect of it. You can never truly finish learning everything you need to learn in the university. So that's one part of it. So I think the solution to that is engineering students and professionals must be ready to step out of their comfort zone to learn. The second thing is that within the university system, there is an unbalance because we are not getting all the experimental practicals we're supposed to get. And that includes when I was in the university, luckily enough, we went on field trip. And I think those field trips changed my life, to be honest. I think I'm an engineer today because I went on field trip, because just seeing the things that I saw on field trip, I really, really loved it. And I'm like, yes, this is what I want to do. It just reiterated the passion for me. So I think that that's really very good and very important. And I'll tell you an example. Once when I was doing my master's degree, I had a mentor, and I'm going to come to mentorship later on. And so I applied for this mentorship program and I got on it. And so the mentor said, you know what, one of these days, I want you to come to my office and I'm going to show you around. And then I went to his office, and then he took me into a room. And then he was talking to me about, they were producing valves. And he was talking to me about all of these valves and all of that, and showing me the drawings on the screen and all of that. And I was so happy. And I was like, oh, yes, the valves and all of that. And in my head, if you ask me how big I thought the valve was, I thought it was just probably as big as a box of Indomie, to be honest. Yeah. So, after like 30 minutes, it then took me, he said, let's go to the shop floor. And then, when I got to the shop floor, my eyes almost bulged out. And then he then said, oh yeah, come and see. This is the valve I was telling you about. Ladies and gentlemen, that valve was 40-inch valve. It was bigger than me. It was like, a Volkswagen, when it's like you hold it with the top up. That was what the valve was looking at. And that changed my perspective, because even my perception of size was so limited that I couldn't even sort of think about it like that. And I think that's what exposure, some of the things that we've gotten people suggesting here, does to us. So if the lecturer doesn't have that perception, then they're not going to be able to transfer that perception to the students. All right. And also, if they don't have the support, all right. So, and that's why we must lay the blame where the blame is, but we must also identify that some of these lecturers do not have the tool of trade, or do not have even the industry experience. Because sometimes if you've had industry experience, a lot of people that have industry experience are not lecturing. A lot of people that are lecturing do not have industry experience. So that's another, so that's where the gap is. And also if you have industry experience and you're lecturing, a lot of them don't have the facilities that support them to be able to train students. So it's all a web. And I see why, Adamu was struggling, because it's all a web, it's all connected together. But what we're trying to do is, if you focus on all problems together at the same time, you will not be able to solve it. So even though it is a web joined together, one thing that we must recognize is, how can we solve? So there are some things that are simple. The first one, that is the solution that people have proposed here, is engineers to step outside of their comfort zone and try to learn beyond the school. In fact, for the students that are here, YouTube is your friend. Like, not just movies, YouTube is your friend, right? And also start Googling thoughts, start Googling things. Google is your friend, YouTube is your friend. And that's another thing that we're going to, that's another result. So YouTube is your friend, Google is your friend. You need to do that. And also for the lecturers, we need to, that's why an NGO like ourselves, we're trying to roll our program outside of there and all of that. How many of us, let me ask, how many of you here will be willing to take 1 week off and share your knowledge in a university setting? Let's see. How many of us will be willing to do that? How many of us will be willing to do that? If you're willing to, just take 1 week. And I can see Mr. Tunji because I just doing it like this. Okay. How many of us? So I can see Oluwafunmilola. Just put it in the chat for me so that I can identify a difference. Okay, I can. Good. Mr. Gado. Okay, yes. Yes. Good. Yes. Okay, yes. Okay, that's really good. All right. Somebody said I will bring a friend. So yes. So I feel like and also, the Nigerian factor is there. You know, if you go to the universities and just tell the lecturers, you don't know what you're doing, you're not teaching the students, you're not synchronizing, we're never going to get anywhere. But I feel like if you come to say, oh, we're a collegiate of students that have graduated, we want to give back. We want to give back to the society. We want to give back to our universities. And we like to just train these students in some of the things that we know. All right. We would like you to be there. You're not saying you're teaching them, because the lecturer probably won't want to sit down and get taught, you know, putting the Nigerian factor in. But if you say, you know, we are the collegiates of people, do we think that will work? So I think that some of the problems are huge, but we need to, a proverb in my place to say, you need to break it into smaller chunks so that we can swallow. So I think that, you know, we have a platform like that whereby we are sourcing for people that can come together as a collegiate of people to go to these universities for a week so that we can actually share our knowledge with them. Industry, I call it industry perspective. I did one industrial lecture last year for the students of Federal University of Technology, Akure, where I graduated. And I was shocked at the response. It was so, the students were elated. Do you get? So I feel like, you know, even beyond us as an NGO, let's find opportunities like that. Let's find opportunities. Let's reach out to the most reasonable lecturer, all right? I know, in quotes. Let's reach out to the most reasonable lecturer in the department that we graduated. Let's offer them support, all right? Let's offer them support. Let's say, oh, we're thinking of giving back to the students. So I think that's one way we can do it. And also that's one of the things we're going to be, you know, there are all these alumni associations and all of that is just money for alumni. No, alumni association should be able to support the university. So that's an idea, you know, I'm coming up with, but, you know, all of us, we can, the university, the school we graduated from, let's offer them support. Let's say, you know what, we have this, you know, just say, I'm going to be back in town. Maybe let's say you finish from Kwara, you're in Lagos. Say, I'm going to be in Kwara for 1 week. And I just thought, you know what, I'll come in one of the days and I'll just speak to the 500 level student and I'll just show them some of the things that I do. I think that that will really, really, really be beneficial to some of these people. So that's one point about how we can sort this synchronizing. Also, you know, if you're rich enough, it's been 20 years you graduated, you can buy some machineries for the students, all right? And also some of us, our companies have corporate social responsibility, okay? You can look at, let's say you are in Ota, okay, let's say Ota, Nigeria, because I know that Tower Aluminium is in Ota, all right? So, you know, sometimes people just come to ask for money for different things from the companies to do this festival, to do that festival. You can ask the company, why don't we look for the university here and offer them an equipment, all right? And offer them something that is engineering related, all right? Something that will last beyond food, beyond festivals, beyond things. So just as me just putting all of these ideas out there are some of the ways in which we can help. Also with what you guys have said, somebody has talked about Field Trip. Like I said, Field Trip changed my life. You know, if you have any opportunity to influence Field Trip, I think one of the things we are going to be doing as Edge Realities later on is we are hoping to be able to gather funds so that, you know, because another problem for students is funding, all right? They need funding to be able to go on this Field Trip. I can't remember now, but I think the Field Trip I went on cost about 30,000 naira. And that 30,000 naira then, it was, it was not easy to come up with that money, you know, to start traveling. I think we went to 6 places, but that 30,000 naira wasn't easy. So sometimes funding is also the problem. If you tell students to contribute to go for Field Trip, they need to be able to go, come back, accommodate them, and all of those kind of things. So funding is also a problem. So I'm hoping that, you know, when we also reach out in the future for you to support us with any form of funding and anything, you know, some of us, you want to celebrate your birthday or something, you can make it an engineering event. Okay, so little things like that can begin to help us and support it. So I so much subscribe to all of these things that we've said in terms of Field Trip. Also, I think it was Ayo Komi that said he had the opportunity to be going with his dad, you know, on short holiday experience. That's really very crucial also. Short holiday experience and all of that. And also mentorship. Mentorship can be very formal, can be informal. You know, mentorship is there also. So I think that's really, really very great. So let me just quickly go to our next point. I'm trying to look for the presentation now. I think we have a lot. Okay, I want to just quickly share our screen. Just pardon me while I try to share screen again. And okay, I can see those in there. So all of you that said you're interested in us inviting you, we will invite you one of these days to go with us to universities. By God's grace, we'll be able to get some funding for accommodation for you and for grants for a collegiate of people just giving back. So let's talk about the next thing is we talk about practical. Let's talk about government. All right. What is the problem of the government in this issue? Let's talk about government. All right. So I can see government. What is government? What is the problem that government is causing, and how can we solve that problem? What is the problem? What is government's problem, and how can we solve it? All right. I don't want to assume, because sometimes you just assume that you know, but if you have an insight to what the problem is with government, how has the government impeded engineering, and what can be done? How has Nigerian government impeded engineering, and what can be done? Okay. While we think about it, I'm looking for people to raise their hand. Okay, so Adamu, I'll go first because you wanted to talk about government all through, and then next I'll go to Dr. Joshua. So Adamu, you can unmute.
Yeah, Ma, thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much. I think I used to have this issue with the government in the sense that engineering, Nigeria government and engineering, there is nothing that is actually bridging, like bringing them close together. Nigeria government doesn't have anything to do with engineering, as far as I'm concerned. You understand? Because even if you look at even the power sector I'm working in now, you understand? If you look at most of our CEOs, you understand, you get to know that most of them are not even engineers. You understand? You are putting a leader, you understand, a barista to come ahead the power sector. You are bringing an economist to come ahead the power sector. So I don't think if that will be managed well, you understand, because someone like there are some instances that you get to be getting commands from the CEO that go and do this, go and do that. They thought engineering is just like reading newspapers, or I don't know what is it, because they don't really have the inside knowledge of engineering, you understand, and as such they keep on messing up, you understand. And again, the Nigerian government, I think it's so vexing that they don't have good structures for engineering, and that's why you see people trying to do projects. They spend a lot of money in projects to bring out innovative things, you understand, but at the end of the day, nothing to support them with, you understand. At the end of the day, they keep on abandoning it. If you go to universities, I see a lot of good projects, like innovative projects, you understand, but due to government not giving support, you understand, they abandon. Even the schools are tired, you understand. At times they will recommend someone for going to such to be taken up for good training because of what they see in such person, but the government are not there to give them help, you understand. All those things, I think one of those things.
How can we solve this problem?
It is when the government themselves now come down to say, okay, there are some companies, or let's say some organizations that are supposed to be heard, you understand, taken care by engineers, you understand. Then I think things can be done well. You can see Minister of Power, you can see they bring someone from nowhere to come and do Minister of Power. How is the person going to perform well, you understand? So I think if there's a way, you understand, if our leaders can give a second thought to that, you understand, let engineers be engineers, and they should always be there to give support, you understand. Let them create trainings that will actually let them go to, like, give command to universities, you understand. Engineers, social training, social practical should be done and measures to be taken, you understand, but they don't care. And that's why people are being fed up with engineering in Nigeria. Sorry to say, to me personally, is our government's issue. Though we know the government, Nigeria government is actually bad in almost all the sectors, you understand, but the whole thing still boils down to the government. That's just it.
Thank you very much. Let me go.
If you can have a government that will value engineering, you understand, bet me that engineering will be great for it in Nigeria again. That's just it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I think, so look, can I say something here? I want to just say something here.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you, Adamu, for your inputs. I want to say something, and I think this is also very important that all of us take notes. Now, the truth is the situation in Nigeria today, the issue of the government and all that, is not something that is going to be coming as a quick fix. And I must tell you that if we decide to wait for the government, it may take another 50, 60, 80 years to get these things done, right? So why I'm saying this is you gave an example of your CEO being somebody that has no engineering background and all that. The question is, how many engineers are building leadership capabilities? How many engineers are building competence in management? How many engineers are trying to understand finance? Because the truth is, if you don't know Naira and Kobo, if you don't know the numbers, if you don't understand business, if you don't understand marketing, if you don't understand these things, you may never be able to rise to that very top. And that is where I see so many engineers failing. And if you check, not just in your industry, in every industry, it's very difficult to see somebody get to the very top who is an engineer, only very few. And the issue is because many engineers focus only on engineering and forget to build other competencies that are required to be able to rise to that very level. So for me, I think that is the solution. From this very age or from this very level that we are, we should not just focus on building competence in engineering, we should focus on building all-round competencies in business management, leadership, empathy, emotional intelligence. All those competencies are very critical to be able to rise to that very top. That's just what I want to say. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. These are great insights. Dr. Joshua, please.
Hi, hi everyone. Thank you so much for the chance to attend this, and I really appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
So actually, I wanted to talk about funding, but I think that was talked about before, and I highlighted here because I'm taking notes that I mean, as part of funding, you know, how does funding come into the sector? Through government and through industry. So I'm going to talk about the government part and tie it up to how the industry plays a part in this. So you have to understand one thing. So full disclosure, I thought I was lecturing in Federal University of Oyo-Ekiti for about a year before I left to Japan, where I'm working right now. Engineering is very expensive. If you don't know how much goes into engineering education, you have to go and find out. To buy just one simple lathe machine, there's a lot of money, and this money has to come out from somewhere. And being there firsthand, I know exactly how it is to actually raise funding for a school that is just starting 3 years, no track record and all of those things. So first of all, you have to know that engineering education is expensive. It is not our fault. It is not the students' fault, and it's not the lecturer's fault that it is expensive. It's just the part of the industry that we have chosen, and we have to find a solution to it. So one first problem I know is that government is poor. And so there's so much, there's so little resources, and you have so much. Engineering is there, medicine is there, and all of those things. They are fighting for the small government resources. And so how do you actually distinguish yourself as an engineer to make sure that government gives you the money that you need? And so this brings me to that there is not so much long-term vision in the part of the policymakers who are in engineering. And this way you cannot motivate the government, you cannot really push the government to put money in where it should be. So as part of my solution, I'm saying that the old engineers, the people that have gone through the racks, should actually work to push the government. It's not easy, because if it was easy, people would be doing it. But we have to really push the government to actually let them see why they need to invest a lot in engineering. And we have to be creative in how we do it. And one of that way is giving back, which ties it back to the industry. So the second way you get funding for the university is industry. So while I was here in Japan, I realized that most of the works that we are doing as students in the lab are either funded by the government or by a private institution who wants to carry out research. And they have to kind of give money to the lab in order for us to be able to do the work. But in Nigeria, there is no R&D culture. And so Nigerians or Nigerian engineers or people like us should see how we can enable this kind of things back in Nigeria by actually funding it could be a very small research and development. If you have a company in Nigeria, you should look at how you can put some money in the research and development by Nigerians in a Nigerian university. Of course, maybe the quality might not be as good as, or you are just, okay, I just want to use the solution from the United States, but this will help to build our own homegrown technology. So we have to be creative in how we do this, and we have to plan long term. We cannot just look at short fixes. But this is one of the problems that we have in engineering. So many cutting corners is because we are short-sighted and we are not looking far into the future. And so if we do this, we can be motivated to push the government. We can be motivated to spend money in R&D, which is aimed at building our own industry, and we can be motivated to also give back into our own industry by itself. So one last thing I want to say is, as engineers, you should create the enabling environment for other engineers. Many people have said it that you have to do management, you have to learn all those other skills. But I realize that a lot of engineers just want to be engineers. They don't want to be a manager. But if you're a good engineer, you would also rise. You will also be in your own space. You will succeed. So if you can actually create that space for other people to flourish as engineers, it would be a very good space for us. But I think that we are so fragmented as engineering, as the engineering body, and it's hard for us to actually work together. We need to create enabling environment for other engineers, even though it could be a different engineering skill, but we have to do it. So I don't want to talk too much. That's everything I want to say.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joshua. In fact, that's really great. In fact, I hear the word collaboration again. So many things to pick and unpick from that. Don't worry, at the end, we're going to be, sending you some of the summaries that we've had from this conversation. But, very good thing. And I'm happy that, this is what I want to hear, because that's somebody that's been in lecturing, telling us, oh, okay, it's not the way you guys say it sometimes. So I think this is a very good roundtable for me. And already there are already a lot of brilliant ideas that have come out of this, and also collaboration, giving back, just some of the teams that are running through this at the moment. So I'll let Adedoyin speak quickly. You can unmute.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, also we wanted to talk more about the engineering body awareness with respect to COREN and NSE. They need to be proper awareness starting from the school, because being an engineer, even while we were still in school, then there was no proper awareness to, you guys, the major engineering body, you need to talk to our NSE, COREN. There was no proper awareness. You're just coming out of school, then maybe you meet one or two senior engineers, they tell you, try reaching out to COREN, see what you can do. I think they need to bridge that gap. Then also, I also want to reaffirm what someone said earlier about structure. For example, which is one of the major reasons why I'm also leaving the engineering body, because I haven't been in the engineering society and worked as an engineer for 8 years. There is no structure of an engineer getting to the top. It is something of somebody else from somewhere coming to lead the team, which is not a good thing. Then you just discover that as an engineer, I've been an engineer for almost 8 years, and there's really nothing to show for it. You've been an engineer, then they'll tell you, okay, there's no structure for you to move, okay, from senior engineer, okay, being a director. Then you see people that are in probably social sciences, they've moved from a manager to senior manager, they're now directors in the organization, and they also spend the same number of time in the same company. So I think this awareness needs to be put out there for people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was career progression. Thank you so much. So Olufumlola, you've spoken once. Can I ask you to quickly speak in 1 minute? Are you there? Okay, I'm not sure he's right there or can hear us at the moment, but these have been very, very, very wonderful conversations, to be honest. I had a vision, we had a vision when we were preparing this, but I'm even blown away. It seemed like it's taking a life of its own, because the things that has been shared here are so massive. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to summarize it and put it all in a white paper and still, ask for further discussions about this, because I think one of the things that have become very obvious today is that we may not be able to do everything, but there are some little tweaks that we ourselves can make. And also, as we begin to progress, thankfully, we have some of us here that are managers that are progressing. We have some of us here that are lecturers, some of us that are R&D people. And also, I'm also looking for the engineers that want to start companies, all right, that can actually give a research budget to the Nigerian universities. So these are part of the conversation. So there's actually a lot of little things that we can do. So little drops makes the ocean. And that's really massive. There's so much to talk about, so much experiences. We ourselves as an organization, as a non-governmental organization, have been trying to, bridge this gap, talk to people, talk to students and all of that, just expose people. But, we can't do everything. We would keep trying our best, but I just want to encourage us as engineers. We have this body of knowledge within us. Let's share as much as we can. Some of us have part of this current chapters and all of these, chapters. Let's try and get them to do outreach programs if we can, to reach out to people, because what is beginning to happen is the younger ones are beginning to see themselves as having no future in engineering. And that's not good, all right? Because I believe that, if you're an engineer, there is nothing else that you cannot train your mind to do. And that's what I believe, because there's a capacity that is being built as being an engineer. So I think one thing I just want to encourage each and every one of us to do is to take the points that are from here and start working. And also, we will keep on reaching out to you people. Please, we will keep on reaching out to you. One of the things that we are keen to do, we have a lot of plans on ground, and there's so much that we've done already. I'm just going to quickly share my screen and talk to you about some of the work that we already do in End Reality EIA, and also ask you to please come on board with us and come and be a part of some of these things that we've sort of want to keep doing and doing for people. So I'll just, you already know who we are. I'll just run through quickly about who we are. So it is, the full name is Engineering Empowerment Initiative for Africa, which is EIA, and our nickname is End Reality. So just saying that engineering is a reality that is possible, but the official name is EIA. And, it's just, our goal is advancing the course of engineering in Nigeria and also in Africa at large. But at least if we start from Nigeria, we start solving the problem, then we can expand some of these solutions. Because believe you me, some of these problems are not peculiar to Nigeria, they are peculiar to a lot of third world countries and developing economies. All right. So quickly, I've talked about that. I don't want to go through all of the slide again. I've said it. One of the core things is we already know if engineering was where it was supposed to be, Nigeria would not be where it is currently. And there's a quote here I've put here. Lack of engineering expertise is like a brake on developing economy. And without purposeful intent, engineering expertise does not really take off. All right. So we would not have the engineering expertise. We will keep importing, we will keep, people will keep being out of job, even though the engineers, they have capacity. We will keep not making use of all of that if we don't sort of talk about engineering, if we don't fix this problem. So that's really one thing that is really key there. Our vision, I've spoken about that, is, to promote engineering development as a tool for national innovation, be it in the education, be it in innovation, be it in the industry. And that's why I'm happy today that everything that we've talked about cut across several areas of engineering. So that's really good. I'm really glad about that. So it cuts across different industries. We are just here. Our mission is to ensure that engineering thrives in Nigeria. Engineers thrive. Engineers are very brilliant. So they're not the people that are feeling like, they have no career progression. No, it's not meant to be like that. And one of the, we are here to make sure that that doesn't happen. So the key thing I just wanted to talk to you again about today, I think I lost my mouse there, is there are so many things to do. And as we've seen today in that slide, there's so many problems, but we've categorized what we want to do and the problems that we want to solve into 4 areas. So first is learn, second is layers, third is research, and fourth is lobby. And interestingly, throughout today, people have actually spoken to the things that are the core pillars of End Reality. So first is organizing this training program, workshops for undergraduates. And that's why I was asking us, if we were to volunteer to go on a 1-week residential development training workshop for universities, are we going to be willing to go? Yes, that's one of the things that we would like to do. Also, I think it was Dr. Joshua that talked about lobbying government, R&D to make engineering-friendly policies. Also, we're thinking there's a lot of institutions that are able to get grants, all right? So we're also thinking of liaising with international institutions to get students to be able to go there and see, all right? So even the industry in Nigeria is still to a level limited. There are things that people need to see. You heard Mr. Engineer Gando said that he has mentors both in Nigeria and even outside of Nigeria. There are so many things that we still need to see. So we're thinking of liaising with international organizations to be able to do much more for engineering and also research, all right? There is so much research being done. And some of these things are just sitting at the back. In my own university, they are sitting at the back of a lab, all right? So every year they move the previous one to the back of the lab and they put new ones for the new students. All of these research projects, huge things, fabrications, structures, and all of that, you know. But this research, they are not, somebody talked about the demand. I think it was Tosin that talked about it being subvivent. None of these things is solving immediate problems, and so they are not being useful. And also, no company is invested in that R&D. I remember when I was doing my master's project in the United Kingdom, I was working on the blades, so the blades, fan blades in aero engines. And I remember my supervisor telling me one day and saying that you guys are doing a very important work, because 12 years time, you're going to be sitting on a plane, and on the wings of the plane, the engine will be there, and your research will be one of the things that made that engine possible. Now, just think about that. That was motivation. That was motivational for me. And, you know, and also these companies, the company that was developing the jet engine, they were developing it for Rolls-Royce. They were investing the money to be able to get better microstructure into those fan blades and all of those things. So it just made it very interesting, was motivating. There was money to be able to do the research, and also it was useful work. Every time I get on the plane now, I always remember that thing, and I'm like, I hope my research is part of what is in the fan blade of this thing. So that's another thing, all right, that really helps. So we are hoping that we can begin to encourage people to sort of develop this research collaborations with universities and even government to a level, enforcing it and say, you know what, if you want to produce something in Nigeria, you must have alliance with one university. I think that's really going to push it. So that's really what we are about as a people. There are so many things that we try to do every year, learning and coaching events. We try to also do an event about encouraging people about starting and sustaining an engineering business. I think we don't have enough engineers doing business in Nigeria. And that's because a lot of us have mentioned, sometimes engineers lack the skills beyond their practical engineering skills to actually run or start sustainable business. And so we need engineers that are able to come up with an idea, run with its invention, start a business on it, and they get all of that. So that's one of the areas we hope to be able to train. Also, we have talks like this. This one is a roundtable, but we're hoping in future that we can do engineering conferences whereby we can invite different people to come and speak, come and exhibition, engineering exhibition. You can see things within the country, things that are made in Nigeria. You can see design. I currently watch Lagos Design Week. You can see a lot of things that are made in Nigeria and displayed there for the designers. So why can't we do that as engineers? So that's one of the things that we have in mind. One of the core ones we've really flagged up this year was the engineering mentorship program. And that was really a very great one. We did the engineering mentorship program this year, and it was really, really very interesting. We had two cohorts. Of those 34 mentees, but the problem is we had so many people. We had to close registration because we had too many people that wanted to be mentored. But the demand for mentorship is more than the supply. We only had 21 mentors. So we had to it was supposed to be a mentor to a person, but actually for some people, we gave them 2 students or 2 young professionals to mentor. So we used 21 mentors to actually service 34 mentors. So that's another area. We've talked about mentorship a lot today. If we're able to do more mentorship, we will start to close some of these gaps. And interestingly, from that mentorship program, 2 people got job opportunities. And that's one thing that, we can't even believe ourselves. Just by the mentorship connection, 2 mentees got jobs through their mentors. And that's really very impactful. And that's why we would really want to do this again next year. So we are hoping that, some of you that are here, if you want to volunteer with us as a member, we have a system in place already. So we sort of tell you what to focus on. The content in itself is but we sort of give a guidance on how to mentor those people. And it works, and we are so grateful for those mentors that have helped us this year. Also, there are things that we have in the pipeline. just I think we're running out of time now. We have the Engineering Innovator Program that is going to train people about, innovation, how they can, somebody said making money, what did I say? Monetizing the skill. There's a lot of innovative skills that people are not able to monetize. You just people say, this boy, he made fun. Yeah, can you like? We just like and share. There's really nothing to motivate. There's no plan to actually scale up or anything like that. So we're hoping that, this is one of the things that we have in future. And also, I've talked about starting and sustaining other engineering business in Nigeria. So the last thing I want to talk about is, I think that this has been a very interesting. I need to mute that person. But this has been a very interesting and beautiful conversation today. And I think that that's one of the reasons why we think that we should do this more often, whereby it is mechanical engineers that are talking about mechanical engineering, electrical engineers are talking about electrical engineering, more focused. And that's one of the things we are looking to next year, where we have this tooling for success. It'll be a monthly roundtable conversation whereby it can be really focused. So different fields, we have their own, and then they can begin to say, okay, this is what we are doing. We are adopting one school. This is beyond us as a people. This is just all of us collaborating together to help the younger ones and to make a difference to engineering. So that's really, I need to mute that person at the moment. So that's really where we, as a people, just give me 1 second. That's really where we as a people have been, and those are the things that we have done, and we would like to do more with your support. So please, when you see our emails asking for you to support us, please reach out. And like I said, it doesn't even have to come through us. If you see an idea, that you would like to support other people, please reach out. We can never all do too much. We can never do too much at all. So please kindly ensure that you are doing your best. We will reach out from time to time. But for today, before we go, one of the things we want to do is we're putting a link in the chat. Please, if you would like to join our mentorship team, or you would like to support us in teaching and learning, please fill that form and we'll get across to you. Please, that's our volunteering form. We cannot do this work by ourselves. We need more people with passion. Oluwa from Lola, that was so much passion. We need more people with passion to join us. So please fill that form. Tell us you don't even have to, some people say, I don't like to talk in front of a crowd. We have admin rules, we have different things, just trying, because we need to be able to reach the nooks and crannies. We need to be able to, say to the government, this is the policy that we think you should adopt. We need to be able to push through. And that's what we are thinking that we want to use our status as an NGO to do. Push through funding, push through policies, push through learning innovations, push through several things, all right? And that's what we are hoping that with this little that we do, I think somebody said that the government has a lot of responsibility to do. However, if we wait for the government, we won't do much. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has anything to say, but that's, if you have any further contribution, please kindly raise your hand. Please fill that form if you're interested in volunteering with us at any point in time. We will summarize, we will go through, we'll send you the replay of this, you can watch it again. And also we will be summarizing some of the things that are here. You can use it, you can share it with other people, you can share it with your organization, you can share it with your university about these are the things that I think we can do. You can raise funds. I know in Nigeria, we used to raise here in the United Kingdom, there's GoFundMe, you can raise funds for several things. So you can get together with your friends and say, no, this is what we want to raise funds for. Let's raise funds to buy a lathe machine for university. All the old students of, what university was that, Dr. Joshua? Federal University of Oye. Let's raise funds to buy a lathe machine. And I think that can be it. It's been 10 years we graduated. What do we want to do to give back to our society? So also we ourselves, we're looking to raise some funds next year. If you see any funding that you think will benefit us, let us know. And also, if you have a little token to donate to this cause, we will very much appreciate it to get it. So yes, that's the form there. Please fill. There are different roles where you can pick more than one if you like to volunteer in different roles. Please pick that, especially the mentorship. We've had so much call for mentorship this year that And also we can see what, in fact, when Engineer Gado started, he talked about mentorship a lot. And like I said, just 34 mentees and 2 people got a job. I'm like, okay. So what would then happen? So that means, you know, if we open up more opportunities, which is some of the things that people have said there, more opportunities. And if you see, if I share the screen again, and you can see some of those things that people have said, what the problem is, you can then see that we can begin to solve this problem through some of the things that I've shared, and also through some of the solutions that we've all proposed today, which is knowledge gap, not enough internship, right? Some people want to even do the internship, they can't get where to do it, the educational system, government policy, gender bias. We'll talk about that on another day. Lack of training, innovation, not enough funding, industrial exposure, zero mentorship program, ability to monetize skill. I think that's really key, because if people can start saying that as an engineer, I can monetize my skill, I can do an innovation, I can make money from it, as in I can be VC funded, venture capital funded, somebody can buy this company off me, I can go and create another one. Wow. Just imagine what engineers will do. And that's what has happened with financial systems in Nigeria. You can see a lot of this fintech, they've grown it, and then they've sold it. That's what happened to, what's that? Is it Paystack? They grew it and then they sold it. Innovative ideas. Why can't we do that as engineers? We can do that. I believe we can do that. So that's great. Anyone wants to make any comment? But thank you so much all for joining us today. It's been brilliant. It's been interesting. I am fired up myself. You know, we try to do the little we are doing in our corner, but I'm really fired up for everyone that's really, you know, spoken up today. I will be doing more of this because we just need to be able to solve the problem, and we can solve the problem. The people can make a change, and that's it. That's all the people in all this everywhere you turn now, you hear data analysis, you hear coding and all of that. They took matter into their own hands. They organized free coding, in fact, free coding programs, cybersecurity. People are doing all of those things, and their sector is thriving. So we need to take matter into our own hands and let the sectors thrive. So I'm going to say thank you to Engineer Titus. Thank you so much for that overarching insights that you gave at the beginning of this session. It was brilliant, and we really learned a lot from it. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I'll just leave room for questions. Any questions or any contribution? Anyone? Before I go,